Hey, good evening. We're going to take a quick walk through the garden. There's been a lot of work and a lot of deer damage, as well as groundhog. So, I'm going to start down here. This has been a favorite spot of the ruby-throated hummingbird. They live over in the neighbor's tree, somewhere around there. They have a nest and they come down here to feed. They seem to like the flowers I have, or the general mix. We still have weird things growing out of the sidewalk. That's a coreopsis. And since we have a very bright sunset tonight, take a walk down here and then go at it slowly. This is the other side. Sunflowers are getting really tall at this point. This is deer damage. They were in here and took off the top of my tomatoes. So I've hung various pots and pans around the yard. Not sure it helped, but hopefully we'll still get a crop out of some of these. It still takes 8 weeks from the time it flowers to the time that we can harvest. So we do have some tomatoes in here. I'm hoping we get a little bit more of a crop than this. By the way, the sunflowers were never planted by me. That was all the squirrels doing. This asparagus going to seed. Lovage going to seed. More pots and pans. So far here they've left the tomatoes alone. Tomatoes have grown pretty tall. Hollyhocks for next year. Hollyhocks take 2 years. So I planted these so that we'll have a row of hollyhocks here next year. This is skirt. It's not supposed to be here. I moved it several times. It's still here. And to protect the apple tree, I put some tomatoes I potted with cages around them, not for them to grow up so much as to protect the apple tree in the center from being eaten. These are looking good. Celery, carrots, and behind the tomatoes in the back, indigo. thing that deer hate the most in our neighborhood appears to be dill. So we're letting it go wherever it wants to be. Well, that's a prize I didn't expect to see here. We have a zucchini. I think that'll be ready this week. Notice how the amaranth on this side are doing ever so much better than the amaranth on the other side, which are stunted and short. The soil on this side is almost like cement. It's very hard for the roots to get through, and I've broken about 4 or 5 spades, hand trowels, trying to dig it. It's not diggable. So I'll just have to slowly work at it. Maybe plant some daikon radishes and see where we get. This all through here is skirt. We've had mosaic virus go through, at least I think it was. Could have been vine borers too. These are cucumbers. The ones that had their own pots that were planted with cow pots into the soil seem to be doing infinitely better than the ones that were direct planted into the soil. Next year I'm going to have to give this bed a rest and not plant any cucumbers here. Maybe we'll put some peas or something to help replenish the soil, or maybe some long beans. How odd to have helicopters flying overhead. That needs a little bit more time. Oh, remember my fig tree? Yep, it's still slightly alive. It's starting to grow. Very pleased about that. You can see it. This is not fig. This is not fig. This is coltsfoot and crabgrass and sow thistle. But yeah, it's doing good. I'm very hopeful that in a couple years we'll have some figs. Some of this could use to get cleaned up a little bit. I think some of the borage is just plain done. This is an escapee. This is an asparagus that decided to take a walk. And this is where I hid my lettuce. Hopefully the groundhog won't find it here. And more dill to deter the deer. That's where I put my pumpkin, hiding back there, nestled in the back, away from the other cucurbits, so it doesn't cross-pollinate. The robin's found its way underneath the netting and has been eating all the blueberries. It's like its own private little house. There's still a few that haven't gotten ripe yet, but there really isn't that much. It's split open the top. This is a red currant bush, and that's a black currant bush. And at this point, we're pretty well done with harvest. Since there was still plenty of space here, I planted some parsley, and the wind or the birds or the squirrels planted some marigolds here. Got one bean plant hanging on. Let's see if we get anything this year. It's not doing real well. These guys are doing pretty good, even though there's heat, really hot times. The lilac is shading it, and so we've got Johnny jump ups. The deer made its way up here last night. You can see the damage it did. It's a potato. It's a blue potato, or at least it was till yesterday. Avocado's liking this weather. We put it in a bigger pot this year. We'll see if we can even get it in and out of the house anymore. We'll see. More marigolds. Another tomato. This one hasn't had flowers yet. It probably won't have any fruit before the frost hits. We're running out of time for tomatoes. I'm pleased the leftover basil took to this little tiny pot. And one of the Thai basils decided to grow too. It's amazing what happens when you tip over soil. Seeds start growing. And that's kind of it for tonight. So remember to bang your pans. Keeps the deer away. Hopefully.